Hello and welcome. It's Mr. Zimbrick. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how websites work. Throughout the course of our digital skills unit, we're going to be looking at various components of websites and the type of work that goes into building them. And I just wanted to lay out a really basic framework for understanding websites so that you understand how the work we're doing connects to website design. So first of all, I just wanted to get a brief overview by starting with the person that's using the website, and that's going to be known as the user. So the user is me or you or anybody you know who is online using a website. And we'll write them in here, user. And they're just going to be any standard person that is depicted here as a stick person. And they're smiling because they are using technology responsibly. And they might be on their phone or they might be on a computer. These days there's 1,000 different ways that you can connect to the internet. These are two of the most common ones. Now, when that person is online, they are usually connected online through either a browser or some sort of app. So, you might go to like Instagram.com or you might be on the Instagram app. But in either case, we will refer to those those portals of connecting to the internet as like a client. So the client is going to be our browser or our app. And I will just sketch in a quick little client here of Instagram, let's say, and forgive my art skills. It's got the little title bar, the little icon, says Instagram. Then there's going to be a bunch of posts that people put. The picture, little blurb, and so on and so forth. And it just keeps scrolling, and then there's usually something over here with like people to follow or whatever. Right, so that's our client. And our client is the way that we can interact with the website, right? When we click on things, it's going to send a message to say, hey, we want to go to this website or this part of the website now. And then I click on something else and it takes me back. In other words, there is both input and output happening here. Input, and then it's being responsive and sending us stuff back. Input and output. The big question is, how does that actually happen? How does it know where to go, what information to display, and so on? And a lot of that comes down to something known as a server. This might be a term you've heard before. It is probably the most important part of a website, because without it, you're going to click on a link and it's going to say page not found. So, hit the microphone. We can think of a server, and this is a really rough analogy, as sort of like a little butler person that's going to be finding the content and delivering it to us. So let's give him a bow tie. And they always have the little towel over their arms. Here's his hand. Okay, and then he's got the content that we are asking for. All right, so he is bringing us what's known as HTML and serving it up to us and putting it into our client. Our client reads the HTML and makes sense of it. So that is going here. And also when we click, it goes to the server and says, hey, we need some new HTML. Now, how does the server know what to display or what to give back to our client? And that comes down usually to the kind of information that the website stores. And it's going to store information in a database. Stores info. And we can think of a database, again, this is a really rough analogy, as like a really big filing cabinet. And it's going to store anything from our personal profile details to the posts that we've had, to related content, to our friends list, and so on. And putting some handles on here. And whenever we click on something in the client over here, the server then goes to the database and says, hey, I'm looking for Mr. Z's post, and then I'm going to return that post to him. So the server actually ends up, the server actually goes and interacts with the database, pulls out the right files. Here they are. Now I'm going to give them back to the client. So you can see there's this whole string of events that has to happen for our website to update and display correctly. First of all, you have to have some sort of technology to interact with the internet. You then have to get into a browser or an app so that you have a portal to talk to our server over here. You click on a link and the server goes, finds the information you want in the database, and then returns it to you, and your client will update. So you can think every time you click a link and there's that little spinning wheel, for those few milliseconds or whatever, all of this is happening. Okay, this is how the internet works in general. Again, these are really broad ways of understanding how a website works. But I just want to point this out because as somebody who's learning about website design, there are really two fundamental parts to this. There's what we call the front end. That's the part that the user experience, and then the back side, the back end. And this is the part that only like the programmers and the engineers get to work with. So if you wanted to get into website design, you could really go at it from either end. You could, for example, if you are interested in art and you're interested in more design type of stuff. Oops, that's the wrong one. I'm trying to move my head out of the way. If you like art, if you like design, you might want to work on creating the front end of the website. So these types of people will, design the icons, they'll pick out different fonts, they will structure the website in a way that makes it easy for the user to understand. A lot of these people, they study like human psychology even. How is a person going to look at our website and make sense of it? How is it going to make them feel? So that's one set of skills. But then our website also has to function, from a very technical sense, using the server and the database. And this set of skills usually requires, well, they both require problem solving, but it's going to require some programming skills. You're going to have to do some problem solving. These people are going to be working with lots of like algorithms to design better searches. So you can see without either side of this, the website's just not going to work, right? If we don't have a website to interact with, or it's designed poorly, we don't know where to click and things, then no one's going to go to that website. If, on the other hand, your database and your server aren't working properly, then the information that you're trying to request are never going to get to you, and the website won't work. So you need both parts to be working perfectly. And again, I just wanted to highlight this to say there's lots of job opportunities in web design now, and it requires vast array of skills. So even if you think you're not a computer person or you don't want to get into programming, there's probably still place for you in the technology world. Thanks for listening. We'll talk more about this in the future, and have a great day.